Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk about something that's going to make your English journey so much easier and more natural. We're going to explore 100 daily routine sentences that you can use every single day. These aren't just random sentences, they're the building blocks of real English conversation. Think of them as your daily English toolkit that will help you sound more confident and natural when speaking with native speakers. You know, when I started learning languages myself, I realized something really important. The most useful phrases aren't the fancy, complicated ones we find in textbooks. They're the simple, everyday expressions that people use from the moment they wake up until they go to bed. That's exactly what we're going to focus on today. By the end of our time together, you'll have a complete collection of sentences that will transform how you talk about your daily life in English. Let me start by sharing something personal with you. When I wake up every morning, the very first thing I say is, "Good morning, world." It might sound silly, but speaking English from the moment you open your eyes is one of the best habits you can develop. So let's begin right there with those precious morning moments. The alarm goes off, and what do? You might say, "Oh no, it's already 7 o'clock," or "I need 5 more minutes of sleep." These are perfectly natural reactions. When you finally get out of bed, you could say, "Time to start the day," or "I feel so tired this morning." Don't worry about sounding perfect, just focus on expressing your real feelings in English. Now let's walk through the bathroom routine. You might say, "I need to brush my teeth," or "Where did I put my toothbrush?" When you look in the mirror, you might think, "My hair looks terrible today," or "I should really get more sleep." These honest thoughts are exactly the kind of English you need to practice. They're real, they're useful, and they happen every single day. Getting dressed is another perfect opportunity to practice English. You might say, "What should I wear today?" Or "This shirt doesn't match these pants." When you can't find something, you'll naturally say, "Where are my socks?" Or "I can't find my favorite sweater anywhere." These moments of mild frustration are actually great for learning because the emotions help you remember the phrases better. Breakfast time brings its own set of useful expressions. You might say, "I'm really hungry this morning," or "I don't have time for breakfast today." When you're preparing food, you could say, "I'll just make some toast," or "I need my coffee before I can function." Coffee lovers, you know exactly what I mean. You might find yourself saying, "This coffee is perfect," or "I forgot to buy milk yesterday." As you prepare to leave the house, there are so many practical sentences you'll use. "Did I lock the door?" is something almost everyone says at least once a week. "I forgot my keys" is unfortunately very common too. "It looks like it might rain today," or "I should grab an umbrella," are perfect examples of how we use English to observe and plan for our day. During your commute, whether you're walking, driving, or taking public transportation, you'll have plenty of chances to practice English thinking. You might say, "The traffic is terrible today," or "I love walking to work." If you take the bus or train, you could think, "I hope I don't miss my stop," or "This train is so crowded today." These observations help you connect English with your real daily experiences. Arriving at work or school gives you even more opportunities. You might greet people by saying, "Good morning, everyone," or "How was your weekend?" When someone asks how you are, you can respond naturally with "I'm doing well, thanks," or "I'm a bit tired but good." Don't feel pressure to always say you're great. Being honest about how you feel makes your English sound more natural and authentic. Throughout your workday or school day, you'll use countless practical phrases. "I need to check my email," or "Let me write that down," are things people say constantly. When you're busy, you might say, I have so much to do today, or I need to finish this project. When you're collaborating with others, phrases like, "Can you help me with this?" or "That's a great idea," become second nature. Lunchtime is another rich source of daily English. You might say, "I'm getting hungry," or "What should I have for lunch today?" When you're deciding where to eat, you could say, "I feel like having pizza," or "Let's try that new restaurant." If you bring lunch from home, you might say, "I made this sandwich this morning," or "I forgot my lunch at home again." The afternoon often brings its own challenges and phrases. You might find yourself saying, "I'm feeling a bit tired," or "I need more coffee." When you're concentrating, you could think, "I need to focus on this," or "This is more difficult than I expected." These honest reactions to your daily challenges are exactly the kind of English that will serve you well in real conversations. As the workday or school day winds down, you'll naturally start thinking about evening plans. You might say, "I can't wait to go home," or "I'm looking forward to dinner." When making plans with friends or family, you could say, "What time should we meet?" or "I'll be there in 20 minutes. These planning conversations are some of the most common types of English interactions you'll have. The evening commute home gives you another chance to practice observational English. You might think, "The sunset looks beautiful today," or "I'm so glad to be heading home." If you're tired, you might say, "Today was such a long day," or "I just want to relax tonight." These reflective thoughts help you process your day while practicing English at the same time. When you arrive home, there's often a sense of relief that comes with familiar phrases like "home sweet home" or "I'm so happy to be back." If you live with others, you might call out, "I'm home," or ask, "How was everyone's day?" These greetings help you reconnect with your family or roommates while practicing natural English expressions. Dinner preparation offers wonderful opportunities for practical English. You might ask yourself, "What should I cook tonight?" Or "Do I have all the ingredients I need?" When you're cooking, you could say, "This smells delicious," or "I think I added too much salt." If you're not in the mood to cook, you might say, "Let's just order pizza tonight," or "I'm too tired to cook." Eating dinner together, whether with family, friends, or roommates, creates perfect moments for conversational English. You might say, "This tastes amazing," or "Could you pass the salt, please?" During dinner conversation, phrases like "How was your day?" or "Tell me about your meeting" help you practice asking questions and showing interest in others, which is such an important part of English conversation. After dinner, many people have evening routines that involve lots of useful English phrases. You might say, "I need to do the dishes," or "Let's clean up the kitchen." When you're relaxing, you could say, "I want to watch something on TV," or "I'm going to read for a while." These choices about how to spend your evening are perfect opportunities to practice expressing preferences in English. If you have homework or work to finish at home, you might find yourself saying, "I have some work to do," or "I need to study for tomorrow's test." When you're feeling overwhelmed, phrases like "I have too much to do," or "I wish I had more time" are completely natural. Remember, English isn't just about happy, positive phrases. It's about expressing all of your real feelings and experiences. Exercise and physical activity bring their own set of useful expressions. Whether you go to the gym, take a walk, or do yoga at home, you might say, "I need to work out today," or "Exercise always makes me feel better." If you're feeling lazy, you might admit, "I really don't want to exercise today," or "Maybe I'll skip the gym tonight." These honest thoughts are exactly what native speakers think too. As the evening progresses, you'll naturally start winding down with phrases that reflect your tiredness. You might say, "I'm starting to feel sleepy," or "It's been a long day." When you're getting ready for bed, you could say, "I should probably go to sleep soon," or "I'm going to take a shower before bed." These transitional phrases help you move from the active part of your day to a more restful state. Your bedtime routine provides the perfect ending to your day of English practice. You might say, I need to brush my teeth, or let me set my alarm for tomorrow. When you're getting into bed, phrases like, this bed feels so comfortable, or I can't wait to sleep are wonderfully natural. As you're falling asleep, you might think, tomorrow is going to be a good day, or I'm grateful for today. Now, let me share something important with you. All of these sentences I've been sharing aren't just random examples. They represent the real rhythm of daily life. When you start using these phrases naturally, you're not just learning English words and grammar. You're learning to think in English, which is the real secret to becoming fluent. One of the things I love most about daily routine sentences is how they repeat. Every single day you wake up, get ready, eat meals, work or study, come home, and go to sleep. This repetition is actually your secret weapon for learning English. Instead of trying to memorize complicated grammar rules, you're practicing the same useful phrases over and over again in real situations. Let me give you some practical advice about how to use these sentences in your daily life. First, start small. Don't try to use all 100 sentences in one day. Pick 5 or 10 that feel most natural to your routine and focus on those. When you wake up, instead of thinking in your native language, try to think, good morning. It's time to get up. This simple switch in your thinking language will make a huge difference. Second, don't worry about making mistakes. I promise you, every English learner makes mistakes, even advanced speakers. The important thing is to keep practicing. If you say, I needs to brush my teeth instead of I need to brush my teeth, that's completely okay. The person listening will still understand you perfectly, and the more you practice, the more natural the correct grammar will become. Third, try to connect these sentences with your emotions and experiences. When you say, I'm so tired this morning, really feel that tiredness. When you say, this coffee tastes great, really enjoy that coffee. The emotional connection makes the English stick in your memory much better than just repeating phrases without feeling. Another wonderful thing about daily routine sentences is how they prepare you for conversations with native speakers. Think about it. When you meet someone new, what do you talk about? Usually, it's everyday things like work, food, weather, and daily activities. If you're comfortable talking about your morning routine, your commute, your lunch, and your evening plans, you're already prepared for 90% of casual English conversations. These sentences also help you understand English movies, TV shows, and podcasts better. Characters in stories have daily routines just like you do. They wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, and deal with everyday problems. When you're familiar with daily routine vocabulary, you'll catch so many more details in the English media you enjoy. Let me tell you about something else that's really important: cultural understanding. When you learn how English speakers talk about their daily routines, you're also learning about English-speaking cultures. For example, in American culture, it's very common to ask, "How was your day?" and to give honest but brief answers. Understanding these cultural patterns helps you connect with people more naturally. I want to encourage you to be patient with yourself as you practice these sentences. Some days, you'll feel like your English is flowing beautifully. Other days, you might feel like you can't remember the simplest words. This is completely normal. Language learning isn't a straight line. It's more like a spiral staircase. You keep coming back to the same topics, but each time you understand them a little better and use them a little more naturally. One thing that really helps is keeping a simple journal where you write about your day using these daily routine sentences. You don't need to write long paragraphs, just simple sentences like, I woke up at 7 o'clock. I was very tired. I drank 2 cups of coffee. My commute was busy today. I had a good lunch with my coworker. This kind of simple writing practice reinforces the speaking practice you're doing. Remember, the goal isn't to sound like a textbook. The goal is to sound like yourself, but in English. Your personality, your sense of humor, your way of seeing the world, all of that can and should come through in your English. These daily routine sentences are just the foundation. Once you're comfortable with them, you can add your own style, your own expressions, your own way of talking about life. I also want to remind you that English has many different accents and regional expressions. The sentences I've shared with you today are standard American English, but don't worry if you hear different variations. A British person might say, I'm having a lie-in instead of I'm sleeping in. An Australian might say, I'm having brekkie instead of I'm having breakfast. These differences are part of what makes English rich and interesting. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. Every single day is a new opportunity to practice English. From the moment you open your eyes until you close them at night, you have hundreds of chances to think, speak, and live in English. These 100 daily routine sentences are your starting point, but they're certainly not your ending point. The beautiful thing about learning English through daily routines is that it makes the language feel less foreign and more like a natural part of your life. Instead of English being something you study for an hour and then put away, it becomes woven into the fabric of your everyday experience. That's when real fluency begins to happen. I hope you'll take these sentences and make them your own. Use them when you're alone, practice them with friends, write them in your journal, and most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is actually a stepping stone to better English. Every day you practice is a day you're getting closer to the confident, natural English speaker you want to become. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you have everything you need to succeed with English. You just need to be patient with yourself, practice consistently, and believe that every small step forward is progress worth celebrating. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep using English to tell the story of your beautiful, unique daily life.